Alright, and once again we are back in Pokkén Tournament DX. I have another character that I'm going to attempt to provide a guide for you guys, so if you don't know how to play this character, hopefully this guide will help you. It's going to be step by step, so you guys can follow along if you like. This one is going to be featuring the speed type character, Sceptile. So, first things first, we're going to go into practice mode. There are only a handful of speed type characters in the game, I think. Let's see. One of them is Sceptile, and he was in the base game. Croagunk was added to DX. Then there is Weavile, and I think last is, I believe, Pikachu Libre. I'm thinking, you know, over time I'll probably end up learning the entire cast, because I don't know how to play every character in the game. But over time, I think I'll end up playing everybody in the cast, so I can, you know, provide guides for every character. It's actually pretty fun to do, and I'm enjoying some characters that I previously, you know, had no interest in playing. So it's good for me as well. What we're gonna do is, we've been in the dojo for the past two guides for Blastoise and for breaks, and this time I'm gonna go someplace else. I'm gonna go to I think I'll go to Neo City Night. It's a larger stage than the dojo, and I'll see how that sounds, just to get some different music going. So if you do not know how to play, there is a guide that I've created. It's tied to the Blastoise guide, so if you don't know anything about how to play Pokkén Tournament DX in general, you should refer to that guide. This guide is going to be about Sceptile. Now, Sceptile is a let's see. Sceptile is a speed type character, very agile, very mobile. You want to use this to your advantage. I find that Sceptile has a bit of a weaker field phase compared to other characters, but his I think his dual phase is where he can get away with a lot of stuff and where he can shine. I think Sceptile, you could call Sceptile a trapper. He has some traps that he throws down. The traps are very brittle. Meaning that they can be destroyed by a lot of stuff. They can be destroyed by a lot of projectiles. Also, if Sceptile himself either, well, like for this attack specifically, if Sceptile gets hit, or, you know, even if he, you know, you hit his shield, the traps will disappear. So it can be kind of rough figuring out where it is that you want to go lay down these traps. Some of them are good up close, and others you'll get much more mileage out of them if you do them from far away, because they have a lot of recovery time on them. Okay. So first thing we'll do is we will start with his standing weak attack. Standing weak attack, he throws out these kind of shuriken kind of things. If you tap it, they fly out and then they disappear. If you hold them, they'll go and they'll stay out for, I don't know, maybe 1 second. So this is what it looks like when it hits. You can, you know, and you can tap it and get them going a couple times more. I will take that auto block off. And this is what it looks like when it hovers. Okay, if your opponent is sitting right there, they should be able to walk straight out. Yep, so that opening is wide enough that if your opponent, you know, was standing and they did move upon you throwing this out, they'll be able to walk straight out. Or in Breakson's case, she'll be able to actually use an attack that can hit Sceptile through it. What you can do with this attack is you can cancel out of it by pressing the R button. If you cancel out of it, well, not cancel out of it, but you can dash away. So if you tap the button and then tap the R button in any kind of direction, he'll be able to do like a little cancel dash. So this is him going forward, this is him backward to the right, whoop, and this is him to the left. You can also do the same thing if you hold it. Okay, that's me holding forward and holding back, so on and so forth. If you just mash the button, he'll do a follow-up. His follow-up is that's the follow-up on command. It's the forward weak attack button. He does a backflip. There's a hitbox on his feet, and there's a hitbox on the actual projectile that he kicks out. Okay, it does cause a phase switch, and this does get rid of some projectiles. It's pretty hard to hit a moving target with it. Okay, so if your target is nope, not that. And move to the right and move to the left. Okay, if your target is moving, it can be pretty hard to hit them with this. You know, it's a straight shot. It's got a very narrow width. Okay, So you want to make sure that when you're doing something that you hit somebody with the attack. You know, you will probably want to hit somebody with an earlier attack before you go for that backflip. Okay. Let's see. Next thing is going to be, I want to go back to standstill. Next is, yeah, I already explained the forward one. That's the that's his backflip, or his backflip. Then you have the back one, the back weak attack. His other weak attacks are all classified under the same thing, which is growth. You know, the move in the actual Pokemon games. I guess the first one I'll talk about is the back weak attack button. What this move does, it takes like, what is that? 1, 2, maybe 2.5 seconds. But what this does is it restores health if he took damage. It fills his synergy gauge a little bit. If you look, it's his synergy gauge is filling, and it also, I believe, it cuts down the amount of time that he has to suffer under a debuff. So if he received a debuff of some kind, like for example a speed debuff, and he uses this move, it will cut down the amount of time that he has to sit with that debuff on him. The debuff basically gets cut. There's a hitbox on this attack. Okay, there are 2 hitboxes actually. And you can also cancel out of this with a jump, and you can cancel out of it by dashing. Okay, so you could theoretically, if you got your opponent flustered, you could throw this down and then get away from him. Okay, and then come up with something else like almost immediately. Or you could get in their face, you could do this, you know, and then, you know, follow up with whatever else that you might want to follow up with. Let's see. Next is the side weak attack button. This is the one that you will probably want to use from a distance. Okay, so this side weak attack button, it's also growth. Okay, this one throws out like a little landmine. The landmine sits out for a couple seconds until it before exploding. As soon as you throw it out, the landmine is live. Okay, so if Breakson were to walk into this, she would get hit by it. Let me see. If she were to walk into it, I think it just stuns her. Let's go to slot 2 and record, and then move to the right. Oop. Let me set that to command input relay. There we go. How about that? There you go. Yeah, when she walks into it, she'll get stunned by it for a second, which will allow you to come up with something. So you might be able to hit her with a backflip, you know, upon her getting stunned by it. Let's see. There are 2 versions of it. There's one where if you tap the button, it flies out kind of a medium distance to him or away from Sceptile, and if you hold it, it flies out much farther. Okay, and it does. I'm not sure if it tracks or not. All right, but for sure there are 2 different versions of it. There's the held one, and wait, there's the tapped one, and then there's the held version of it. The properties of the move change when Sceptile is in a synergy burst. When he's in synergy burst, he'll throw 2 of these out, and I guess I'll show those when I come to them. But next is his jumping weak attack. This is also called growth. This sits out for a second. It sits out for a second. This does not stagger opponents. Okay, so an opponent could run. So if you did this up close, your opponent could run through this and attack you. So there you go. Let's roll with that, and then get rid of slot 1. Okay. Yeah, it does not stagger. Okay, it does do damage, but it does not stagger. What happens here is that it sits out for a couple seconds, and then after a couple seconds there we go. After a couple seconds it turns red, and then it splits apart, and the little leaflets go out and they attack your opponent. So this is what you want to use, you know, in the event that you actually are able to get this off. Okay, you can use this to cover your assault as you know, go in and attack your opponent. Okay. The last thing for, I think, weak attacks, I believe that's it. We got the forward, we got the backward, we got the sides, we got the standing. I think that's it. Yep, the Sceptile has no charge move. So if you charge the weak attack button, or if you charge the strong attack button, or if you charge the special attack button, nothing happens. He doesn't have any special effects that come from that. Next we can do strong attacks. The strong attack, just tapping the button, goes into his pursuit attack. Sceptile has a very fast pursuit attack just because he has a very fast run speed on account of him being a speed type character. This is what it looks like on... That's what the regular version of it looks like. I guess I should show it on Shield. This is what it looks like on Shield. It's a 4-hit attack, but 3 inputs required. And this is what it looks like when you charge it up and you get a shield break off of it. Alright. Let's see. His back. Nope. I think that's it. That's it for his weak attacks. I mean for his grounded strong attacks. Next you have his jumping strong attack, which what this does is when you use it, he goes invisible for a moment. He goes invisible for a moment and then he drops down onto his opponent. While he's invisible, he is invincible. Okay, so if your opponent had an attack that they put out and you did this, you would be able to avoid whatever that attack was and reappear and hit your opponent. Okay, there's one kind of key thing to Sceptile that you can chain this into, is that if you do this and then hold the R, well no, I don't think that works on this. No, it does work on that. If you press the R button after doing the jumping strong attack button, he will go into a vine hang. Okay, if you jump in general, if you jump and then press the R button, he goes into a vine hang. Okay, that's anytime. He goes and hangs for like maybe a second and then he drops on his own. And he's able to do different attacks out of this. I'll go and I'll explain that later. But for his jumping strong attack button, if you press the button and then press R, he can cancel it into his vine hang. Okay, that's it for his strong attacks in field phase. For his special attacks, okay, this one is Bullet Seed. So Bullet Seed has 2 phases. Okay, Bullet Seed has the initial jump, and just by tapping the button, and if you tap the button twice, he goes and he spits out 4 seeds in field phase. In field phase, you're able to direct the bullets. Okay, so you can either shoot them straight, or you can shoot them all the way to the right, or shoot them all the way to the left, or if you get really good at it, or if you practice it enough, you can curve it from the middle, and maybe you can keep your opponent from just running straight into you. After the bullets land, they kind of turn into, like, you know, little plant spikes, you know, that will knock your opponent into the air, which will then allow you to follow up with your backflip or whatever else that you like, and, you know, continue your assault. Okay, this jump is very helpful. Why? Because you can hold it. Well, not hold it, but yeah, hold it. If you hold the button down once, he does his just the maximum height for this short hop. But if you tap it, he goes into a much shorter version of said short hop. Also, you can move around with this. Okay, this lets you get out of a lot of stuff. Okay, you can avoid grabs with this, and it's much better because it's different from his jump. Okay, and because people are expecting him to go into a jump, if he does the short hop, they may not see it coming. So you can also move to the side when doing this, and you can also do different things out of this as well. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry for that. It's a weird cut. But anyways, Bullet Seed, 2 phases. If you tap it, he does a short jump. If you tap it twice, he lays out the seeds. You can direct the seeds anywhere that you like. And if you tap it once and then move the directional pad, or move the D-pad and move the stick, whichever one that you're using to move the character around, you can move around left to right, or you can move forward or backward. Okay, and this helps with his maneuverability. Okay, next is his, let's see, I think that's it. Nope, there's Detect and then there's Leaf Blade. This is his forward special attack is Leaf Blade. It's a mid-range attack, I believe. Yeah, this is about mid-range. It's a mid-range attack. He flashes blue for a moment and then he sends out the blade. You know, this is like his signature move in Ruby and Sapphire. Okay, it will cause a crit if you hit somebody in the middle of an attack. The way that you want to use this is you want to time this. Let's see, we'll set here. For some characters are able to do follow-up moves out of their you know, their attacks. Like for example, Grayson can fire fireballs and then use Psybeam to the right and to the left. So let me set it here because there's a blind spot. in Leaf Blade. And I want to see if I can hit that blind spot so you all can see what it is I'm talking about. Which is why it would be unsafe to use this during certain parts of, for example, Braixen's attacks. Slot 1 is off, slot 2 is on. So, you're fighting Braixen, and she's using, you know, little fireballs. And the time that you want to use this move is not during this. You don't want to use it during her little fireballs, because it's her fireballs are going to hit you during the blind spot of Leaf Blade. Okay. So, for example, if you were close to her, you still wouldn't be able to hit her because there's a blind spot in Leaf Blade right before Sceptile swings it. When he initially goes into that stance, stop it, Braixen. When he initially goes into his ready stance, he flashes blue, and then there's a blind spot before he swings it. Okay, and he'll get hit in the middle of that, like right before he swings it. So what you want to do is, for example, when Braixen does this, you want to time it during the big attack. Okay, if you time it during the big attack, you'll be able to hit your opponent every time. Okay, so that's more of a timing thing. Okay, when you understand the timing of Leaf Blade and when his blind spot kicks in, you'll be able to more efficiently use it. This is a command counter, by the way, and then his other special attack is his back special attack, which is Detect. Okay, Detect. Don't quote me. I don't think it's frame 1 because I've been hit out of it, you know, as I do it. But what happens with this attack is we will go back here, go to slot 3 this time. I'm going to use this, and then 2, and then 3. Alright, Detect is also a counter. What this allows you to do, well, I should say what happens with this is that after it hits, Sceptile does some ninja stuff. Okay, he drops a log where he used to be. Okay, and then he swings on a vine over his opponent. Okay, to which you can if you hold the R button, you can cancel into his vine hang, like so. Also, you can. You can cancel into his jumping. You can cancel into any of his jumping attacks. Okay. This is primarily just a way to get over your opponent. If your opponent is putting down a whole lot of horizontal pressure, you can throw down. I'll save that for Duel. But when your opponent is throwing down a whole lot of horizontal pressure, you can use this to swing over them. And for example, you would be able to get over them. Okay. And then, do something to them from behind. All right, let me cancel this. That's good. All right, next is Vine Hang. Okay, jump and then press R to do a Vine Hang. When you do Vine Hang, you can cancel into any of his attacks. You can cancel into his weak attack. You can cancel into his strong attack. You can also cancel into his special attack. Oh, that's right, the other special attack. This special attack here is, what is this one? I believe this is Leech Seed. Yeah, that's Leech Seed. Jump, press the button, he does a really cool flip in the air, and he sends it down. You can't see it very well because it's in field phase, and I'm fighting against a shorter opponent, so the camera angle is lower. But what this does is if you jump it, you throw it down, and after a couple seconds, some seeds come out. It restores Sceptile's HP when they hit. So provided Sceptile took some damage and these seeds, they explode. He also gets just a teeny tiny amount of synergy when he throws them out as well. Gotta make sure you hit her with it. There you go. Yeah. So if he took damage, those will heal him. Okay. Let's see. There's some different directions for it. So if you just do a tap a jump, don't move, and then throw him out, he throws him out in front of him about mid-range. If you jump and you press the back directional button and then throw it out, he'll flip a little bit towards the back. He'll kind of like a little retreating flip, and he'll throw down the seeds. Same distance in front of him, same width apart from each other. If you go forward with it though, he'll spread them out more. So for example, if your opponent was, if your opponent was further away, you could throw out the seeds if they were trying to strafe you, and maybe you'll be able to hit them with it, or just you put it down and they don't want to run there and they'll hesitate. and that'll let you do, you know, something else. He can also move to the side with them. If he moves them to the side, they'll move off to the side depending on where your opponent is. Right now they're not doing much. That's because my opponent is stationary, but they are moving to the right and to the left a little bit. Okay. Now that is everything. The last thing with Vine Hang, as I said before, jump and press the R button. You go into Vine Hang. You can cancel into any of his aerial moves. That also includes Leech Seed. Okay. After that, I believe that's everything for his field phase. So next we will go into dual phase. Okay, dual phase is, I think, where Sceptile really shines. I think there are a couple ways that you could do the Sceptile playstyle. I've encountered people that prefer to put debuffs, that prefer to refresh debuffs on the opponent, because all of Sceptile's traps, well, not all of the traps, but any of his traps that cause debuffs, they're causing defense debuffs, which, you know, allows him to put, you know, more damage onto his opponent. He's got a couple moves that allow him to do this. In field phase, that would be his side weak attack, which would be growth. So notice how Braixen's been hit with the defense debuff. Also, if he gets hit with, if he runs detect, and let me go to, this is fine, number 3 is fine. 1, 2, 3. If he uses detect, turn off slot 2. Detect also causes a defense debuff. Okay, the last move that he has, that will be his up weak attack. His up weak attack also causes a defense debuff. And as you play, you're going to be, you know, putting debuffs on your opponent, which will speed up, you know, how long it takes you to get rid of your opponent. I've seen people play around that playstyle where they try to get down debuffs very often in order to, you know, rack up damage with Sceptile. Because as you know, as I was playing with Sceptile online, you know, I realized I was taking out my opponents a lot quicker than I thought I would have to, because I was, you know, not exactly making sure that I put debuffs down, but I noticed that, you know, I kept hitting them with debuffs, you know. With weak attacks, we'll start with the weak attacks. Nope, from this distance. His basic string is this. He slashes the air. Okay, it is a, let's see, it's a 2-hit move. Okay, he does a slash and then he does a kick. With the kick, you can charge it. The kick will break counters if they counter. Okay, it's also meant to, you know, you can also use it to put down pressure if you like. Specifically with this, you can cancel out of the kick. Okay, so you can cancel. Well, not cancel out of it, but you can cancel after landing the kick. Okay, so you can punch, kick, and then you can press the R button, press the guard button, and then move away from your opponent, or you can press the guard button and move into your opponent. This will help if you, well, not for that specific attack, but he has other attacks that he'll be able to pursue them, you know, after knocking them away, you know, like that. Let's see, if you mash the button, he goes into Leaf Blade automatically. But you can also cancel into your Bullet Seed. You can also cancel into what? You can cancel into Vine Hang and go into something else. Your usual fare when it comes to, you know, canceling into different specials. You know, it's not restricted to, you know, the general special that you get if you mash the weak attack button. Okay, his low stance weak attack. This is a very good one. It's a very good attack. He moves them. If they're shielding, I think he, you know, like he pushes them away from him, and I think if they're shielding, he just moves back from them. Nope, he doesn't move back from them, but he does move them away from him. What this can allow you to do is that you can actually, if you threw down a trap on them, you can use that and push them into it. You know, so if they were, you know, or if you know, throw down Bullet Seed, you know, maybe push them into it. Just real sneaky kind of play, you know, with Sceptile. He's kind of a deviant, you know. Let's see, but that's his low stance weak attack. His high stance weak attack is, I look at this and I think it's toxic, right? I look at that, I'm like, that looks like toxic, because I'm pretty sure Sceptile can learn toxic in the Pokemon games. But that's what it is. This, I wouldn't call it a very good anti-air. You know, I've noticed that this trades with a lot of attacks. Okay, so you know, you may get the hit off and you may get the opponent off you, but Sceptile may get knocked down and end up over here someplace on the ground. Okay, so I've had it trade more often than I've had it successfully anti-air with no consequence to myself. Okay, if your opponent is standing on the ground, you can hit them with it. It definitely doesn't look like it considering breaks his height, for example. If they duck, I'm sure that like if they duck, it's not gonna hit, I'm sure. Oh, I'm wrong. So it does hit even if they duck. Okay. So yep, I was wrong on that. So it does hit even if they duck. Okay, but that's his high stance weak attack. In fact, that might be why that might be why it's not the best as an anti-air, is because it hits while they're ducking. Let's see. Anything back? Nope, no backs. Oh, there, his forward one. His forward weak attack, yeah, he kind of like does this little hop and skip. Okay, if you just mash it, he does that. So what you would do is you would skip, hop, skip forward, and he puts himself in the air. When he does this, you can cancel into his vine hang by pressing the R button once he's in the air. Okay, and that allows you to do whatever it is that you want to do once you're in vine hang. Okay, you can also delay the second hit. If you delay the second hit, he will knock them much further for more damage. And I believe you can do a specific combo if you counterattack them and launch them into the air. Okay. Well, let me see. Yeah, that's something. I'm not remembering if that's exactly what it is that you can do with it, but essentially you can delay it and you can launch them from much farther than you would if you were to just tap the button. Okay, but that's what that does. Primarily, you can use it to cancel into your vine hang. Very helpful. Okay, especially like like even if you do it on shield, if you do it on shield, you can cancel out of it. So I don't think that there's much that you're actually losing from doing this move. Okay, unless they saw it coming and then after you went into the vine hang, they decided to attack you. Maybe then you'd be in a little bit of trouble. But I think that you get more pros from using it than cons. Okay, so far, at least at my current level with the character. The other deal is, I think that's it. That's everything. No, there's a jumping. Oh, this is probably the best jumping move in the game. I feel like this is probably the best jumping move in the game. So what this does is it's a disjointed hitbox. Okay, look at the distance of it. Okay, you should look at the distance of it. You should get accustomed to the distance of this. Okay, you can use this up high at the top of his jump. You can also use it once you're almost touching the ground. Okay, you can angle this upward and downward. Okay, this allows you to chain your juggles. Okay, Sceptile specifically has like reset juggles. Okay, and this allows you to chain your reset juggles. So that would be, oh, well, I'll talk about that after I get to it. But this is his disjointed hitbox. It's probably one of the best jump in and attack you kind of moves in the game, I feel. Okay, but that's what that does. That's it for his weak attacks. Okay, for his strong attacks, you have this. Yeah, the backhand. His backhand. Let's see. 1 second. That's my phone. Okay, his backhand. You hit him, you knock him back. What you can do with this is you can cancel into your dashes once again. So you can dash forward, or you can dash backward. You can charge this. Okay, if you charge this, it breaks shields, and if you charge it, it breaks shields. Not breaks shields, but if you charge it, it breaks counters. Okay, you charge it, it breaks counters. If you hit somebody with a fully charged version of it, you'll cause a knockdown. What you can do with this is you can. Well, I'll talk about the combo chaining in a second. But what you would do is you would knock him with that, dash inward, and then continue with some other attacks. However it is that you like. All right. His forward, yep, that's the forward one. He doesn't have a forward one. His backward one is kind of like a tail attack. Look at the effect on the attack. Okay, he has to get fairly close. He has to get very close to his opponent in order to actually hit with this attack. Okay, so if you're looking at the little slash, Sceptile has to be about here in order to do this. This crushes grabs. So if they try to grab him, If your opponent tries to grab him, he'll crush it, and he will launch them into the air, and you know, be able to go into his other combos. I will explain that later. I will explain what just happened in a little bit later. But yeah, if they grab and he uses this, he'll be able to launch them into the air and go into, you know, his jungle combat. Okay. His low stance strong attack is a slide. It's a slide. It does what slides do. It moves forward, puts him in a low profile. You can use this to get out of some stuff. You can use this as a surprise attack. If your opponent was getting ready or setting up or doing something and then you're close to him, you can slide into them. You can use this as a combo ender. I think that's it. His high stance strong attack, sometimes it's better. Sometimes you'll like it, other times you won't like it. It's a very slow attack. Okay, it puts him in the air. This also crushes grabs naturally. High stance strong attacks all crush grabs. You do this, he jumps into the air very slow like, right? Very slow like, and he does a kind of like a little drop kick. Okay, it puts his opponent into the air and allows him to combo. Okay, that's what it does. You can move forward and you can move backward with it, just ever so slightly. Okay, but if your opponent was, you know, for example, trying to grab you, you could jump out of this and do your deal. Or if they were using, I guess, you know, some low stance attacks or something, you'd be able to use this, completely avoid them, because whereas other characters, you know, their high stance attacks, you know, they're still in the air, they're still grounded. You know, this one puts Sceptile in the air. Let's see. There's the jumping one. Jumping one is as you've seen before. He jumps up, goes invisible, and, you know, slaps down his opponent's head. I believe that's it for his strong attacks. Yeah, I'm just looking at his movement. He's got great overall movement. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry for that weird cut once again. That should be everything for his strong attacks. Okay. Next week, well, I'll talk about his stances last. For his special attacks are most of them are as you've seen before. He has his leaf blade. If his opponent attacks into his leaf blade, he's able to get a crit. He usually sets them at a certain distance, which is about as you see there. There he'll be able to chain into another attack, which is also a special attack of his. Let's see. His standing special attack is once again Bullet Seed. You remember that you have to tap it once for the jump and tap it again to actually lay down the seeds. In dual phase, you cannot direct the seeds. So whereas in field, you can direct which way you want the seeds to go, in dual phase, you cannot. Okay. Like I said, you can also use this and chain that into Bullet Seed if you like. You know, just different stuff like that. But his standing special attack is Bullet Seed. His back special attack is Detect. His forward special attack is Leaf Blade. His high stance special attack is Leaf Storm. It's an aerial grab. Okay, he jumps into the air, grabs his opponent, and, you know, makes him hurt. So let me go back to command input. So if your opponent is overhead for any reason, or if they tried to jump him for any reason, provided they weren't putting out an attack, you know, as they were in the air, Sceptile can, provided Sceptile doesn't miss, he can grab him out of the air. So for example, Braixen had an air dash and she can do that. And I missed. He can also get them if they jump. There are some attacks that opponents have that are like air counters. Sceptile can grab them out of their air counters. Like I know Gardevoir has an air counter. I think Charizard has Charizard's Fire Punch attack is a counter that puts him in the air, and Sceptile can grab Charizard through that. Okay. So that's what that does. It's an air grab. If your opponent is doing like attacks in the air, for example, let me think. I think in the case of Braixen, that would be this. So it breaks and does her jumping high stance weak attack. I think. Come on. Oh, I did it too early. Nope, I take it back. He can still grab it through that. I take it back. That's a whack. Okay, he can still grab it through that. Let's see. Is that it? That is not it. He's got the last one, which is the this is the other kind of Sceptile playstyle that you might see people running with. Is just like eternal grabs. Okay. This is Giga Drain. Low stance, special attack, Giga Drain. You can direct this. It's a command grab. It grabs him. When he grabs him, he steals synergy off of them. This is very important, by the way. He absorbs their HP, and he also absorbs their synergy. So in the event that your opponent had a maxed out synergy gauge and Sceptile hit them with Giga Drain, he essentially denies them the ability to use burst, at least just for a little while longer. Okay, and this is some stuff that will secure wins for Sceptile. Is for you to hit your opponent with this, prevent them from being able to steal their burst away. Sceptile goes into his own synergy burst, and then he's able to abuse it on his opponent while continuously setting himself up to get grabs. You can direct this. There's a close version, a mid version, and a far version. If you just tap the down button and then go into the special straight up, he'll always go into the mid-range version. If you look in the bottom right corner of my directional input where I'm holding the left button and the down button on my D-pad, and then you press Y, he'll do a closer version of it. So this is the close version of it. This is the mid version of it. And if you look now, I'm holding far away and down. And that's the far away version of it. So this is the mid. This is the close version of it. And this is the far version of it. Alright. Now what people do with this is people will hit their opponent with this and throw down some traps, and they will time Giga Drain to around the time when Bullet Seed activates. Okay, keep in mind that when Bullet Seed is out, if Sceptile grabs them with this, the bullets disappear. This used to be not an infinite, but this was a very hard way to this was a very effective form of pressure in the original game. And I think there was another character that they got rid of it, where they could lay down a trap, they could lay down a timed trap, and they could set up a grab to eventually just do like unblockables. So if you broke the grab, you get hit by the attack. If you block the attack, you get hit by the grab. Okay, but they changed it, they patched it out, so Sceptile can't do stuff like that anymore. But if he throws out Bullet Seed, and then throws out Giga Drain before Bullet Seed activates, the Bullet Seeds will disappear. Okay, and that'll give your opponent a chance to get away. They'll give them a fighting chance. Okay, that doesn't mean that people still won't hold their shield, because they just can't get the timing, or it's hard to figure out the timing, and that's what you play to your advantage. Okay, I'm going to say, gosh, I don't want to say there's any definitive way to play Sceptile, because I definitely don't play Sceptile the way I see other people do. I like to play my opponent. I like to play around my opponent. I like to kite my opponent. Okay, and I like to go in and out just a little bit. I've seen other people who they will get their grabs. They will get their grabs. They will rush in, do their deal, put their opponent on the wall, and then proceed to abuse them with debuffs. Things like debuffs and just debuffs and grabs. Combos with Sceptile. What makes Sceptile so, I guess, deadly is that once he hits you with this, not that, but once he hits you with this, okay, provided he's close enough, he's pretty much got you, unless he drops the combo. Okay, so for example, you hit somebody with this, I'm bad. So there are different ranges that you need to understand that you can do. I guess I guess you could do his bread and butter combo with. Okay, so you would hit them with the jumping weak attack, and then once you hit them with jumping weak attack, you go into his cancels. And depending on the distance from your opponent, you would need to either finish with the low stance strong attack for the slide, or you would need to finish with, for example, a grab, or if you had them on the wall, which is the best result, you could just, you know, perpetuate the combo over and over until you get the phase switch. You could also, if you like, let me see. Oh no, not that. What is it? It's the strong attack one. So you can hit them with the strong attack, you know, and go into your combo like that. What I explained previously was if you charge the strong attack, you can go into the combo. Well, yeah, you can go into the combo and like very quickly get a phase switch. But notice how much damage I've already put on Braixen, you know, just off of one strong attack. You know. Already, you know, this is what makes Sceptile a pain in the butt to have to fight if you're getting hit by him. So imagine if she has this debuff, you know, that's half her HP already, and Sceptile only hit her. He only hit her with like a debuff and a combo, and she's already lost half her HP. And he, you know, and she was far, and he knocked her far enough that she, you know, flew into the wall. When you fly into the wall and you bounce off the wall, you take 30 damage. You know, flat. If you had less than 30 damage when you bounced off the wall, it just drops you down to 1 HP. Okay. Okay, with that said, I think there's only one more thing left to show for the guide, which will be, it should be a synergy burst. Alright, now a couple things changed while he's in synergy burst. For one, in field phase, his side Y, he throws out 2 traps this time. And I think the timing for all of his traps, it gets cut. Okay, so all of his traps activate much sooner. Okay, this is his side Y. If you tap it, this is his side Y. If you throw it out, or if you hold down the button, let's see. There's also his. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Next is his bullet seed. Let's see, his bullet seeds come out faster. Let's see, his leech seed. Instead of firing 2 leech seeds, he fires out 4. Okay, so that's what it looks like standard and backwards. This is what it looks like when it's forward. They spread out quite a bit more. And this is them on the side. This is them on the side. He, as usual, he can direct. You know, he can direct which way he wants to aim them. In field, that goes for the same with bullet seed. In duel phase, he cannot direct which way he wants his bullet seed to go in duel, but he does have some control over where he wants his bullet seeds to end up. I mean, his leech seeds to end up in duel. Okay, I think the last thing is his forward special, Leaf Blade. Using Leaf Blade once will, let's see. Yeah, using Leaf Blade once, well, does the range increase on it? No, the range is the same. But using Leaf Blade once does that. If you press it twice, he goes into Dragon Breath. Okay, Dragon Breath causes a phase switch. Alright, either phase. Alright, the last thing is Sceptile's burst attack. The burst attack is very specific in what it does. Let's see. I think it's a counter-based burst attack. So he can be grabbed out of it if you're near him and you grab him, you can grab him out of it. Okay. But this is what it looks like. Okay, now note how much damage it did. It did around 200 damage, okay? Braixen has 540 HP and it dropped her down to, I think, 331, I believe. I believe it dropped her down to 331. At least for my game plan, when I play Sceptile, is I play only until I can get, yeah, it dropped her down to 331. So it did a little over 200 damage. I tend to play my opponent until I can drop my opponent to around the 200 HP range, at which point I will go into Synergy Burst and try to attack them with a burst attack. it's a long reaching burst attack. In field phase, if you're probably about this distance from them, it'll it'll hit and you'll get the cutscene. If you do it from a great deal, if you do it from way downtown, like this is what it looks like, I think, if you whiffs it. Okay, so it goes about half the length of this stage. Okay, if you were to use it, basically if you were too far but you still hit with it, he won't get the cutscene. Oh, nope, still too far. Yeah, if you were too far when he hit it, and when he hit with it, he still won't get the cutscene. And it looks like he'll do probably about around 150 damage. So he'll do probably around 50 less damage than he would if he got the cutscene. Same thing with fists, I believe. Yeah, if you were too far from your opponent, he won't go into the cutscene, but in duel phase, it will cause the phase switch. Okay. I do believe that is everything. Aside from that, he looks cool. Let's see, I believe the last thing is his stances. I'm not sure if his low stance does anything. I haven't encountered a moment where I tried to low stance and see if it had some armor on it. I do know that his high stance restores HP. I'm guessing it's about 3 HP per second. Okay, so it's kind of similar to Blastoise's deal, where if you had a long neutral and you were both sitting at long range not doing anything, you could maybe go in a high stance and steal some HPs before the timer ran out. But that's generally it. I think that's it. I think that's it for Sceptile. Nothing terribly fancy. I think that his field phase is worse than his duel phase, but his field phase, because you have to time when you're going to throw your attacks out, and because when Sceptile takes a hit, some of his projectiles disappear. Okay, his projectiles can also be destroyed quite easily, unless your opponent wasn't watching where they were moving and they happen to walk into it. But yeah, I think that's about all that you need to know. What I'll do next, or in future parts or in future videos, is I'll go online and take them for a spin. I've been playing them for a couple weeks, so I'll go and I'll end up taking them for a spin, and we'll see what comes of it.